Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Got a story here that's making the rounds, as they say. A lot of people sent this to me. And it was covered in a whole bunch of different news outlets. And I saw one news outlet that actually said the Autopian writer said this, meaning that the other site cited the Autopian. And I love the Autopian. It's founded by two of my friends, David Tracy and Jason Torchinsky. But this article is written by Thomas Hundel. And the headline is what gets you. Toyota reportedly goes on weird tire rant instead of explaining why a Corolla engine exploded and caught fire. So, turns out that in early June of this year, a guy who owns a Toyota Corolla, it's a Toyota GR Corolla, experienced an engine failure and fire while driving down the interstate, and he caught it all on camera. So 2 months later, Toyota is said to have responded, and their answer is weird, and it is. So the guy who has a YouTube channel called himself Wolf and Tiger posted dash cam footage of his Toyota GR Corolla blowing an engine on the highway before bursting into flames. Two things you don't want happening. Your engine blowing or bursting into flames. But it did both. Now the video context is brief, but the engine appears to go at a steady cruising speed. A few minutes after the first licks of flames are visible, the fire department arrives promptly and extinguished the smoldering Sport Compact, which seems now to be a total loss due to extensive fire damage to the vehicle's front end. Now, this is an unusual failure. I've seen cars burning by the side of the road, but it's not that often. However, Toyota went off on a really strange tangent when explaining why they weren't going to help this guy. And so here is the full statement, which has been published elsewhere, including on Car Scoops, that Toyota sent to this guy. You reported that you were driving on a highway when you noticed the vehicle began to make a strange noise like a rod knock. You then noticed the oil temperature was high and the vehicle sounded a warning. You pulled over, exited the vehicle, opened the hood, and saw fire at the rear of the engine. 911 was called and the fire department arrived approximately 5 minutes later to extinguish the flames. You stated that approximately 30 days before the incident, you had taken the vehicle to a Toyota dealer for an oil change and a fuel issue that was repaired. In response to your concerns, a vehicle inspection was conducted on June 24th, 2024 at Copart by a fire inspector. The last reported odometer reading of the vehicle was 23,000 miles. Per the Carfax report, on February 12th, 2024, accident damage was reported to the front, the left front, the right front, and the right rear. At the time of the inspection, the vehicle had fire damage to the front and the engine compartment. The inboard side of the engine block had a small hole on the upper side from internal engine damage. Oil residue was found at the turbocharger, the bottom of the engine, the undercarriage, and exhaust pipes. The owner's manual warns not to drive in excess of the speed limit. Even if the legal speed limit permits, do not drive over 85 miles per hour unless your vehicle has high-speed capability tires. Driving over 85 may result in tire failure, loss of control, and possible injury. Be sure to consult a tire dealer to determine whether the tires in your vehicle are high-speed capable tires or not before driving at such speeds. Based on our inspection findings and the facts relating to the incident, we cannot provide any assistance in this matter. Now, the question is, based on our inspection findings and the facts, we cannot provide any assistance. So go back and look at what they said. You reported you were driving and you heard a knock and you saw some funky things in the dashboard and you pulled over. Could that be why they're not going to help the guy? No, because that would be what would precede something like this. You stated that before this you take it in for service. Okay, that's not really relevant here, is it? In response to your concerns, we inspected the vehicle. And also, Carfax notes that there was some body damage that had been done to the car. And I'm assuming it was repaired because that's how Carfax would find out. So would that void any claims this guy has? I don't think so. There was fire damage at the front of the engine, and the block had a small hole in it when they also found oil residue elsewhere. Okay, is that why they're denying this situation? Then it says the owner's manual warns not to drive in excess of speed limit. But does it say it'll void your warranty, for instance, if you speed? I've never seen that before, and I've been doing this for a while. I'm talking about lemon law claims where I deal with warranty issues and claims against manufacturers. That's all I do. Even if the legal speed limit permits, do not drive over 85 unless your vehicle has high-speed capability tires. The question is, first of all, does it really say that in the warranty booklet? Even if the speed limit permits, do not drive over 85. And are they saying that it also implies there that if you do ever drive your car over 85, Toyota will void any responsibility they have with you with respect to that car? So it sounds kind of like they're saying that. Driving over 85 may result in tire failure, loss of control, and possible injury. But did it result in anything here? That is the speed of 85 miles an hour and the tires? Did the tires cause something here? Be sure to consult a tire dealer to determine whether the tires in your vehicle are high-speed capable tires or not before driving at such speeds. Well, they imply that if you have the right tires on, you can drive over 85. Otherwise, they wouldn't put that there. Based on our inspection findings and the facts, we cannot provide any assistance in this matter. And so they say, here's a bunch of things that are just true. Here's what you told us. Here's what we saw. And here's a rant about tires going over 85 miles an hour. So the guy writing the story here, Thomas Hundel, says, first, let's start with the probable cause of the fire, which is the hole in the engine, not the tires. Unless an engine's been money shifted to high hell, had something that shouldn't be inside of it placed inside of it, or been in a collision severe enough to fracture the block, there's absolutely zero reason for an engine with 23,000 reported miles to have a structural failure like that and not be taken seriously. None whatsoever. The statement acknowledges that mechanical failure occurred, but it doesn't go any further than that. It doesn't say, by the way, we think this caused that. I've had situations before where somebody has had a failure in their car, and the manufacturer says, based on what we looked at, we think they caused it, and here's why. And they'll point to something, reasonable, such as, the engine had no oil in it because the person never changed the oil the entire time they owned the car. That kind of thing. It doesn't happen very often, but I've encountered it. Instead, Toyota goes on a weird aside about the vehicle's speed. What ludicrous speed could possibly lead Toyota to seemingly gloss over the fire? 85 miles an hour. You know what can handle 85 miles per hour? Pretty much every car sold in America since 1983. A G-body Chevrolet Monte Carlo will send the needle off the scale of its 85 mile per hour speedometer. Germans smashed through the 85 mile per hour barrier in 1.2 liter Volkswagens on D-restricted sections of the Autobahn on pretty common occurrence there. So the question is, does the 85 miles an hour really have anything to do with this story? Because Toyota even tied it to the tires and said those tires need to be special rated. And I read several articles about this, and again, Thomas points out here that talking about tires, you can look at the tires themselves and see how they're rated. And it appears that the factory tires on this car are rated for well over 85 miles an hour. So he concludes by saying, while it may or may not be Toyota's place to step up the plate financially here, as fire damage is typically more of an insurance thing, it's certainly fair of the vehicle's owner to expect a good answer from Toyota, and the brand seems to have delivered the opposite of that. There are any number of more plausible ways Toyota could have offered a plausible answer here, from claiming the engine was damaged in a previous collision to pulling ECU logs and looking for signs of abuse, or perhaps, pointing to something that made sense other than just saying, boom, 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 we're not going to help you, which is what they did here. Now, he asks, wouldn't it be nice to know exactly why this Corolla blew up? Well, we've reached out to Toyota ourselves, and we'll update you as soon as we hear back. So if they do update, I'll probably update also. But the one thing I have to point out here is that if driving 85 miles per hour voided your warranty and any possible claim you could ever have against a manufacturer of an automobile, virtually every single warranty out there would be canceled by now. Because people speed a lot, and you usually have to warn somebody of a reason a warranty can get canceled. Doing the following things may void your warranty. And by the way, I don't know what year this car was or if it was still under warranty. That is an issue that does not get addressed here. Because if this vehicle is really old and outside of the time limits on the warranty, the guy might not have had a warranty claim. But because it's a safety issue, it's possible that there might be liability on the manufacturer's end that does not have to do with an actual direct warranty, like the glove box warranty. However, I'm just simply talking about liability, whether it's warranty or otherwise, right? And so you generally have to warn somebody and say, doing the following things will void your warranty, such as modifying the engine. So if somebody buys a bone stock car and puts some monstrous supercharger on it and does all kinds of wacky modifications to the engine, and then one day the engine lets loose, the manufacturer's rep's going to go, we didn't sell that car with a supercharger or that bumpy camshaft. It's a question whether you call them bumpy or lumpy, but another story. They'd have the right to deny a claim for an engine failure if the engine had been heavily modified like that. Now, could they deny a claim for a radio failure? So in other words, you've modified the heck out of the engine and your radio fails. I'm talking about the thing in the dash that creates sound. So you take it in and go, guys, my radio failed. Oh, you modified the engine. Most people would say, I thought the engine modification might void the warranty on the engine. Didn't expect it to modify the warranty on the radio, right? So usually they've got to point to something and say, yes, you did this and it caused this. Or it's got to be outlined in the warranty and say, these are exclusions, okay? What's important to understand here is that tires themselves already have their own warranties. And I've mentioned this before, that if you buy a brand new car and you get all the booklets together and you read everything when you buy the vehicle, it's going to say, here is your warranty from the manufacturer. Let's say 3 years, 36,000 miles, 5 years, 75,000 miles, whatever it might be. There might be one in the drivetrain, there might be one in the bumper-to-bumper coverage, there might be one for corrosion on painted surfaces, okay? Now, it will say right in the owner's manual in most cars, by the way, the battery has its own warranty, or the tires have their own warranty. And the reason is that most tires are manufactured by other companies, not the manufacturer of the automobile. The manufacturer of the automobile designs everything else, but they buy the tires and the batteries from third parties. They put those in. Sometimes they'll include the paperwork from those companies going, here's the warranties you've got. So if the tires had failed on this car, you'd have a claim against the tire manufacturer if this fell within warranty. And if it doesn't fall within warranty and the tires failed, well, there you go. The interesting thing here is the tires didn't fail. Tires don't appear to have contributed at all to this story. And you might say, but Steve, if you were, let's play devil's advocate here. And by the way, he deserves representation too, right? Let's play devil's advocate and say that you're driving the car and let's just say you're speeding, okay? You're driving the car too fast. Is it possible to say that driving the car too fast might cause an engine failure? Therefore, if you were driving too fast and the engine failed, there would be no coverage. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does make sense. But notice they didn't say that either. They did not say that. And so if I was drafting this letter, let's assume that I'm drafting this letter. I work for Toyota, heaven forbid, and I draft this letter. I would have drafted the letter and said, hey, look, we examined the car. We've examined the video of you driving the car. And it appears you were driving at an excessive rate of speed. And we believe, assuming that an expert would say this, that led to the failure. I wouldn't have gone off on a weird tangent about the tires, because somebody who wrote this letter, I don't think they had somebody else double check it. Because somebody would say, wait, why are you talking about the tires? The tires are what we call a red herring in this situation. Why are you talking about them? But it does say the owner's manual warns not to drive in excess of the speed limit. By the way, they didn't say 85. They said in excess of the speed limit first. Then they said, even if the speed limit permits, do not drive over 85. Unless your vehicle has high-speed capability tires, which this car apparently did have, so that entire section there shouldn't be there because it doesn't actually relate to what we're talking about. So it's a weird story. It's a weird story. I have no idea if the guy's regular insurance will cover this or not. I also have no idea if this vehicle was under its manufacturer's original warranty. But like I said, they're talking all about the tires, being driven at 85 miles an hour. Okay. So it's a crazy story. And the public relations that Toyota's getting out of this is not that good. So if we hear any updates, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, I have to tell you, please check out the Autopian. In years past, I've written for Jalopnik and roadandtrack.com and other online websites. And a bunch of the people from those various sites have migrated over, and they started the Autopian just a couple years ago. They do wonderful work, absolutely great stuff over there at theautopian.com. In fact, I'll put a link to them in the description below this video. But fascinating story here. Great writing by Thomas Hundle. Toyota reportedly goes on a weird tire rant instead of explaining why a GR Corolla engine exploded and caught fire. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. In case you were wondering, I am, by definition, the best version of myself because my operating system is always updating.